She cheated before her girl's trip, came home to an empty house. Man, let me tell you about the worst betrayal I've ever heard. This dude discovered his woman had been screwing around with 4 different guys for 4 years, and she learned about it the hard way. So, the missus and I had been hitched for 22 years when everything went sideways. The first time I laid eyes on her was at this dive bar where my buddy's band was playing, and boom, I was done for. We're both knocking on 50's door now, with 2 grown kids who are doing their own thing. Been busting my ass as a diesel mechanic at this trucking outfit for 23 years straight. She used to clean teeth for a living, but switched to working part-time at this medical clinic, pulling night shifts 3 days a week. Started noticing weird shit happening with her behavior maybe 5 years back. Every couple of weeks, she'd announce some weekend adventure with her girlfriends, Vegas, wine country, beach resorts, you name it. Didn't raise any red flags initially. The woman worked hard her whole life, figured she earned the right to cut loose with her friends. The thing is, her explanations about these trips kept changing. The details didn't match up. Our sex life? Forget about it. Went from barely there to non-existent. Always had some excuse ready. Exhausted, headache, stressed about work, whatever. Everything changed 7 months back when she started hyping up this Atlantic City getaway. 4 whole days of casinos, concerts, and spa stuff with her crew, scheduled for late March. The way she got defensive whenever I asked basic questions made my radar go off. Something stunk about the whole setup. So I made a decision that changed everything. Called up this PI that my divorced buddy had recommended, a guy who specialized in infidelity cases. Met with the investigator multiple times, waiting for him to dig up whatever dirt there was. 2 weeks before her big Atlantic City adventure, the PI calls and says I need to see what he found immediately. Walking into his office that day, my stomach was doing flips. This investigator spreads out all these pictures, video files, and paperwork across his desk like he's dealing cards. The proof was right there, impossible to deny or explain away. Turns out my faithful wife had been banging 4 separate dudes during the past 4 years of our marriage. 3 of these assholes had wives of their own, making the whole thing even more disgusting. The photos showed her at all kinds of places, cheap motels, restaurants, parking lots, even some guy's apartment. Watching those videos nearly killed me right there in that office. There's my wife, the mother of my children, making out with strangers, laughing at their jokes, doing things that made me sick. One bastard worked at her clinic, another was from her gym, a third was an old boyfriend from high school, and the fourth was a contractor. The investigator handed over this massive folder stuffed with everything he documented. Words wouldn't come. I just sat there staring at proof that my entire marriage was built on bullshit. Here's my wife planning her Atlantic City trip like nothing's wrong. Meanwhile, she's been running around town like a teenager. 22 years together, building a life, raising our babies, and she's out there doing this. Then it hit me. Her trip was actually perfect timing for what I needed to do. I kept my mouth shut for 2 weeks, playing the loving husband role while making my plans. That Wednesday morning, I helped load her suitcase, drove her ass to the airport, and even kissed her goodbye. Stood there waving like an idiot as she went through security, telling her to have fun with the girls. The minute that plane left the ground, my plan kicked into high gear. First stop was the bank, pulled exactly half our savings, and opened my own account. I removed her name from my pension and canceled all the credit cards she had access to. Harsh? Maybe, but I wasn't about to finance her lifestyle when she knew I was gone. My lawyer had already prepared everything. We'd been working on this since the PI showed me those photos. Divorce papers were drawn up, just waiting for my signal to file them. Then came the really hard part, calling those 3 wives whose husbands were screwing around with mine. The hardest phone calls I've ever made were crushing these women's worlds with the truth, but they deserved to know what their men were doing behind their backs, just like I did. One lady said she'd been suspicious for months and actually thanked me for confirming it. Friday morning rolls around, and I call in sick, then rent the biggest moving truck available. My brother shows up with 3 of my work buddies, all ready to help me clear out. These guys knew the whole story and were pissed on my behalf. Real friends. We loaded everything that belonged to me: tools, furniture I bought, my flat screen, gun safe, every damn thing in my garage. That Wednesday, right after dropping her off at the airport, I sent all the evidence to both kids. Wanted them to hear the truth from their old man, not some twisted version from her later. My boy drove down Friday morning to help move, but he couldn't wrap his head around what his mother did. My daughter called, crying, saying she had always felt something was off about all those weekend trips. By Friday night, everything I owned was in this furnished apartment I'd secretly rented 2 weeks earlier. The house looked like a tornado had hit it. Half the furniture was gone, empty spaces everywhere, but I made sure to leave her stuff untouched and placed a special surprise on the kitchen counter. Big manila envelope with her name written on it, divorce papers, and copies of everything the PI found. All weekend long, my phone stayed silent, even though she called a couple of times from Atlantic City. Just let it ring. She was probably confused why her husband wasn't answering. The attorney told me to wait until she returned before officially serving her, but I wanted her to see that empty house first. Monday morning, she texts that her flight's on schedule, landing around 7 that evening. Asks real sweet if I can pick her up from the airport like always. I didn't even bother responding to that message. Picture this: she grabs an Uber home, probably annoyed I didn't pick her up, walks through that front door expecting everything to be normal. Instead, she finds half the house stripped bare, my closet empty, the garage looking like a ghost town, except for her little sedan. Then she spots that envelope with her name on it, sitting there on the counter. My phone logged 13 calls from her that night. I kept track. The voicemails ranged from sobbing to rage to begging to threatening to call the cops. Never answered once. Just let her spiral while I watched TV in my new place. Tuesday morning, process server walks into her clinic and hands her the official papers in front of everyone. The attorney called to confirm delivery, saying she had made quite a scene before security removed her. I felt weird knowing it was actually happening after all those years together. The next few weeks turned into a circus. She tried everything imaginable to get to me, showed up at my job until security banned her from the property, sent her whole family after me, and even had her pastor call. But my mind was made up. 2 decades of marriage, and she pissed it away for some side action. A couple of months later, we're standing in divorce court for the final hearing. Looking at her across that courtroom, she seemed smaller somehow, defeated, worn out. The whole thing was wrapped up quickly. My lawyer presented everything. Her lawyer didn't even try fighting it. The judge read the decision while she just stared at the floor, as if she wasn't even present. The house had to be sold with profit split down the middle, standard stuff. But here's the kicker. She had to pay me alimony for 2 years since she was getting money from her dad as an allowance. Basically, her dad was spoiling her. It was not very much. It was only $900 a month. Even with everything she did, part of me felt empty about it ending. Over 2 decades together, and she couldn't even look at me during the hearing. My kids filled me in on what happened when she got back from Atlantic City that Monday. She apparently called my daughter hysterical, screaming about me abandoning her while she was gone. My daughter shut that down fast, told her straight up that dad knew about all the guys you were fucking around with, her exact words. After everything was finalized, I focused on getting my life back together. That apartment was temporary. I found myself a nice 3-bedroom place with a huge garage. I bought it outright with my share from selling our old place, so I have no mortgage hanging over my head. Put the rest away for retirement and rainy days. Started building new memories to replace all the tainted ones. Brother kept pushing therapy, but I turned it down. Figured I dealt with worse and survived. Between my family and my buddies, I had all the support I needed. 10 months after the court, she mailed me this long letter. She's living in a crappy apartment now and working extra shifts to cover her bills. Saw her handwriting, read the first sentence about being sorry, straight into the garbage it went. No point digging up what's already buried and done with. My focus was on moving ahead and creating something better from the wreckage. Looking back at 22 years together, realized how blind love makes you to reality. But her Atlantic City trip ended up being the best thing that happened. It gave me the window to escape clean. The path ahead looked uncertain, but for once, I felt optimistic about it. That feeling alone was worth everything I'd been through. Starting fresh after that long marriage was rough, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But every corner of my new place was mine to make into whatever I wanted. Decorated with my stuff, family photos, vintage tool advertisements, motorcycle memorabilia, and trophies from car shows. I started hanging out with the boys again regularly, something I'd stopped doing years earlier. They'd crack jokes about my great Atlantic City escape plan, calling it legendary. Picked up new hobbies too. I joined the bowling league at the local alley and bought that '72 Chevy pickup I'd been eyeing for years. Working on that truck became my therapy. Every bolt turned was progress forward. Got myself back in decent shape too, hitting the gym regularly. Lost the beer gut, gained some muscle, felt better than I had in years. Funny thing, found out her gym boyfriend got banned after his wife showed up and went nuclear on him. While digging through boxes one day, I found pictures from our anniversary trip to Branson 2 years prior. She's grinning in every shot, playing the perfect wife while already cheating with multiple guys. Shows you how someone can lie right to your face and you'd never know. There were moments when I wondered if things could have gone differently, but then I'd remember. 4 different men over 4 years isn't a mistake. It's a choice she made repeatedly. My kids became my rock during everything. They made sure I wasn't isolated by checking in constantly. My boy told me he was proud of how I handled it. No drama, just executed my plan while she partied. We grew closer through this mess than we'd been since they were little. Both of them basically cut their mother out, except for obligatory holiday visits. She missed my daughter's engagement party. Neither of the kids wanted her there. A year and a half later, I met someone unexpected. This woman worked the register at the parts store where I bought supplies. Sweet lady, genuine, has been through her own divorce hell when her ex cheated. She understood betrayal, knew the pain firsthand. She laughed her ass off when I told her about Atlantic City, said it was the best payback she'd ever heard. We took everything slow, both knowing trust had to be rebuilt carefully. She doesn't do girls' trips, and I'm perfectly fine with that arrangement. This new relationship brought happiness back into my world. She fits great with my kids and even went dress shopping with my daughter for her wedding. The difference between her and my ex is staggering. One of my ex's former friends reached out about a year after everything, told me my ex was struggling bad, lost her friend group when the affairs came out, especially since one guy she was banging was married to someone in their circle. She said her ex still talks about coming home to that empty house, how it haunts her. I never expected I'd actually leave. I thought I'd confront her but ultimately stay. Walking into that half-empty place broke something in her, apparently. This experience made me realize I needed to let go of the anger for my own sanity. Not forgiving her actions, she made her choices and can live with them. But carrying that rage around was only hurting me at this point. It taught me how fragile trust really is in relationships. Takes decades to build, seconds to destroy forever. That Atlantic City timing, though. 4 full days to handle everything without interference. Going forward, I'm more careful but still open to possibilities. Anyone needing monthly girls' trips raises immediate red flags now. I became the guy others talk to when they're going through similar situations. Told one coworker about my Atlantic City strategy when he was dealing with a cheating wife. He waited until she went to her high school reunion, only to come back to papers and a half-empty house. Having that support system for guys dealing with betrayal became important to me. We meet up at the local sports bar. An informal group of survivors. 3 years out now, life has found its rhythm again. Simple pleasures mean everything. Coffee in my garage, cold beer with friends, quiet evenings working on projects. My girlfriend and I are solid. Considering moving in together eventually. A relationship is built on honesty and respect, no games or deception. We hit car shows together, explore new restaurants, and she hands me tools while I work. She never complains about time in the garage, never asks for suspicious weekend getaways. Life has challenges, but it's authentic and meaningful now. I got promoted to shop supervisor last year, which meant better pay and hours. Looking back, seeing how far I've come amazes me. That betrayal that destroyed my world became the catalyst for something better. Learn to trust again, love again, and find happiness in daily life. Still picture her walking through that door, suitcase rolling behind her, expecting her devoted husband waiting. Kids told me she sat in what was left of the living room, sobbing for hours. She called everyone in her phone, trying to understand what happened. Neighbors watched the whole moving truck operation while she was gone. One couple considered calling her, but decided to mind their own business. Smart move on their part, honestly. Those 3 wives I contacted all divorced their cheating husbands. The first one had already hired a detective and was building her case. Cleaned him out completely. House, retirement, monthly alimony, everything. She sent me a Christmas card, thanking me for the final push she needed. The second wife was related to a coworker's family. Small world. Her husband tried to deny it until she showed him the investigator's photos. Then he tried blaming my wife for pursuing him. She laughed and filed papers immediately. The third wife went scorched earth on her husband. She drained their accounts while he was working, sold his boat to her brother for basically nothing, and donated his sports memorabilia collection. She served him at his office in front of all his coworkers for maximum humiliation. Ex-wife tried contacting me several more times over the years, created fake social media profiles, trying to reconnect, spotted them immediately. Her mother even called, trying to guilt me about abandoning her baby, reminded her that her daughter was sleeping with 4 men who abandoned her exactly. Kids initially felt torn about taking sides. I told them that wasn't necessary, but they chose anyway. Coffee with their mom every few months is about all she gets now. My son said she still plays the victim sometimes, like I'm wrong for leaving during vacation. He shuts that down fast, reminds her about the 4 affairs she had. Our daughter didn't invite her to the wedding last spring. Walking her down that aisle was one of my proudest moments ever. Looking forward, got plenty of plans brewing. The truck should be show ready by summer, featuring midnight blue paint and silver striping. Work's going great with the supervisor position. Could retire at 60 if investments stay solid. Dating at this age initially felt strange, but my girlfriend gets it. We're both damaged but healing. No deception, no games, no questionable weekend escapes. Definitely no mysterious girls' trips to worry about. Joined a motorcycle club for older riders. Charity runs, poker runs, and Sunday morning rides. Half these guys are divorced with similar stories. We call ourselves second chancers. The best part of starting over is making your own rules. No more pretending to enjoy stuff I hated just to keep peace. No fake friends, no suspicious absences, no gut feeling something's wrong, just authentic living with genuine people. Yeah, loneliness creeps in sometimes. Random moments, old couples at restaurants, certain songs on the radio. But loneliness beats being deceived and disrespected. Lonely beats being played for a fool while she's living it up in Atlantic City. My advice for anyone in similar situations, listen to your instincts, hire that detective if needed, and you can afford it, and make your plan carefully. Don't bother with confrontations, hoping for change. Serial cheaters don't change. Get evidence, get legal help, get gone. And if they conveniently plan a trip, universe just handed you the perfect opportunity. Use it wisely. Life's too short for staying with someone who betrays you repeatedly. No reward for being the understanding spouse while they're banging other people. Protect yourself. Stand tall. Don't feel guilty for leaving. The cheater should carry guilt, not the person who was betrayed. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened without that trip. Would I have confronted her face to face, lost my temper, tried reconciliation? Grateful I'll never find out. That trip was the universe's gift, time and space for a clean break without messiness. 20 or 30 years remaining if I'm fortunate. Lots of time for new adventures, fresh memories, life on my terms. No deception, no betrayal, no wondering about her girls' trips. Just genuine living surrounded by people who actually care. That's my closure right there. And honestly, that's everything I needed. That's absolutely everything. As Tony always says, don't risk your freedom for someone who has betrayed you. They are not worth it. I considered confronting her when the PI showed me everything, but I decided against it. Fellas, life is too short to stay with someone who doesn't value you. Well, cheating on your partner like that after being with them for 2+ decades is really sad. But the really sad thing is, the times we live in, marriages ending after that long are becoming all too common. Remember, never let someone make a fool out of you. Trust your instincts. Don't ever let your emotions dictate how you proceed. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.